can you not be happy when you're listening to great music?
It's an event that is based around music and listening. When you have a great audience and they're with you, it just elevates the whole performance to another level.
The streets are just filled with people. There are performers all over. There's music going on. It's downtown like not the way you normally see it.
Bigger and better is always a cool thing to say, but we want to be the best at what we do.
Good evening and welcome to Jam Session, 13 Wham's annual preview of the CGI Rochester International Jazz Festival, which is about to kick off its 21st edition. I'm Abby Fridman.
And I'm Dan Schrack. More than 1,700 artists will be here from 16 countries, more than 325 concerts. There will be major headliners who we'll tell you about in a moment, and many, many more in the Club Pass series at dozens of venues.
One of them, the Duke, the newly renovated event and performance venue on Main Street in Rochester, which will host its grand opening at the Jazz Festival.
The Duke is named for the Thin White Duke, one of the personas adapted by the late, great David Bowie. It'll have something of a Bowie motif with a custom leather fringe chandelier and lighting and art accents throughout. And of course, the infamous and iconic David Bowie mugshot from Rochester in 1976. Its tiled concert stage looks out over East Main Street and Parcel 5.
The festival's Club Pass series at the Duke and 11 other venues remains a signature of the event. The Club Pass provides access to 216 shows with artists from around the world and is shareable and transferable. And it flies in the face of the way the concert industry is working these days.
Exposing people to new music. It's not who you know, it's who you don't know. That's reverse psychology concert promoting. Why do you buy a concert ticket? I know the artist, I gotta get him. I'll pay $10,000 to hear Taylor Swift. Well, you buy a Club Pass ticket because you have no idea what you're going to hear. You know what I love hearing too is, I never heard of that guy. It's my favorite record. We listen to it every day on Spotify now, but they had no idea who this artist was prior to coming to hear them in one of the Club Pass venues. You gotta bring them back. But they were just here. You gotta bring them back.
Show producers John Nugent and Mark Iacona say the Club Pass is the best way to discover new artists.
Yeah, the series also helps shine the spotlight on some pretty incredible venues, mixing jazz with the vibrant spirit of Rochester.
This is a venue. Patrons are going to love it here. The programming is going to be great, straight ahead jazz, and then you have a hotel and you have a restaurant here.
In its nearly 100-year history, the site originally served as a private club. Designed by architect Leon Stern, it was completed in 1929 and became the third location and cornerstone of the University Club of Rochester, hosting social and business gatherings for the city's elite.
People sought entertainment out in the community. So a club like the University Club was innovative. They had some of the first squash clubs in the community. So, they were offering all of these activities that people today can find in many other places.
However, societal changes and financial challenges led to the club's decline nearly 90 years after its inception. In the early 2000s, it was restored and reopened as an inn. Decades later, the Inn on Broadway is experiencing a renaissance, now under the careful stewardship of new operators Miles and Amy Van Duzen.
A lot of what we've been doing here over the past year has just been listening to the building's needs, listening to the team's needs, listening to the community as best we can.
It's been a really interesting journey for us. We walked in and we have this institution, right? So it's something that's been very well established. And to come in and get your fingerprints on it, you can't dive in head first. You want to make ripples but not waves.
With 25 unique guest rooms, Tornado's Steakhouse, and ample space for gatherings, preserving the building's grand elegance while modernizing it has required both dedication and a deep love for its legacy.
Just being able to come in and know that we're going to provide genuine care for the team and to allow them to stay in the family that they've created for themselves and to be able to foster that and grow into being part of it with them is really meaningful and very rewarding.
Soon, the Inn on Broadway's history will intertwine with the present as one of the festival's newest Club Pass venues, featuring nightly performances, starting with Allison Cardenas and Nash.
It's a great way to connect people to the past through the things that they're enjoying in the present.
A testament to Rochester's rich legacy and bright future.
And now let's get to the headliner series.
There will now be 5 big free outdoor headliner shows, as well as 5 ticketed headliners taking the stage at Kodak Hall at the Eastman Theater.
Let's remind you of who they are. On opening night, Friday, June 21st, the Jazz Festival welcomes back legendary blues guitarist Taj Mahal, who was part of the 2009 edition. We caught the 82-year-old legend on Zoom before he hit the road to see us and told us how much he loves a jazz festival crowd.
I've always been playing out with the people who know the music and who know what they want and are there. I don't usually play a lot of these kind of like we don't know what we're listening to festivals. Come out to have some fun, you know, to move around, dance, enjoy yourself. Here's some great music. Here's some interesting combinations of what type of band I'm going to bring with me. And realize that we're still doing it. Not because of hit records. We're doing it because it's a gift, and that the only law is that you got to share it.
As for what to expect from Taj Mahal, we'll find out in the moment.
I never have a set list. I've never put a set list on a guitar. What I play is what you write down. That's what I played. That set was what I did that time. I don't never have a set list. Get up, make sure the instruments are in tune. Then whatever tune hits me to open up with, we go with. Remember, we came to knock them alive, not knock them dead.
Saturday, June 22nd, it's the Lee Ritenour Band. The jazz guitar legend is making his Rochester Jazz Festival debut with his band and special guests Randy Brecker and Bill Evans. It's Ritenour's first Rochester Jazz Festival, but he has very few other firsts left to achieve, having touched on rock and roll, fusion, the pop chart, Brazilian jazz, and much more.
Then on Wednesday, June 26th, a hot young artist who turned out to be this year's hot ticket.
We have an artist this year that maybe a lot of the older crowd doesn't know about, and her name is Laufey. Laufey, it's pronounced, but spelled Laufey. This young girl has sold 2 Radio City music halls, the Hollywood Bowl. She's a phenomenon. It's like the Beatles when she comes on stage. Well, her show sold out at the Eastman Theater in 12 minutes, okay? You can't get a ticket to Laufey on Wednesday, June 26th. Sold out, all young people.
Thursday, June 27th, one half of what's been called the most successful pop duo of all time, Rock and Roll Hall of Famer John Oates, coming to the festival for what's billed as an evening of song and stories. Stay with us for our conversation with John Oates about this show and his legendary career.
On the festival's penultimate night, it's Samara Joy, the personification of the festival's slogan, "It's not who you know, it's who you don't know." This is her 3rd consecutive appearance at the festival. She was part of the Club Pass series in 2022 and 23 for sold-out performances. Now, for her 3rd year, she's a Kodak Hall headliner. The 24-year-old has topped the charts, won a Grammy this year for Best Jazz Performance, and is earning accolades as the first Gen Z jazz singing star. She's at Kodak Hall Friday the 28th.
And as we head outside, the festival is hosting free headliners as well. Saturday the 22nd, the East Avenue and Chestnut Stage hosts Chris Joan Kingfish Ingram. The blues guitarist has taken the music world by storm in just 5 short years. His debut album hit #1 on the Billboard Blues chart and stayed on the chart for 91 weeks. Then, his 2nd album won a Grammy.
Then on Wednesday, the 26th, Parcel 5 becomes part of the festival with Sheila E. back for the 2nd time. Producers say the percussionist extraordinaire had such a great time in 2022, she begged to come back. Her music touches many genres, including the salsa featured on her latest album.
It's not Latin jazz, it's completely different. It's completely different than anything I've ever done in my life. I grew up listening to salsa music, so to make it fresh and to make it real, I understand it from my heart. And I grew up playing music from my heart. Me as an artist, I feel very international. I feel like I belong to everyone.
We talked at length with Sheila E. You'll be able to hear more in the coming days on Good Day Rochester and in the 13 Wham Jazz Lounge.
Another returning act, Los Lonely Boys, are at Parcel 5 Thursday the 27th. The three brothers, who play what they call Texican rock and roll, are back together after taking a hiatus from music to focus on family. They're thrilled to be sharing the stage again and sharing their musical resurrection with the Rochester audience.
For free on Friday the 28th, from Cuba, it's Sima Funk, the Grammy-nominated Afro-Cuban rock star. He's become one of today's greatest showmen, performing a live show with a 9-person band from Havana. Expect a celebration of groove and an unforgettable sonic experience.
And the festival ends Saturday the 29th with a New Orleans Mardi Gras night, a tribute to the Meters, one of the all-time great funk bands. After each of those headliners, your night doesn't have to end. You can head to the Hyatt Regency's Astor on Main for the late night jam sessions.
Our band leader, Bob Schneider, and a rotating lineup of the best musicians in town will play well into the night. Bob and his band of Eastman students are playing for us all night, so stay tuned.
Welcome back to our jam session, a look ahead at the CGI Rochester International Jazz Festival.
Now to more conversations with the headliners. A household name is going to be here on Thursday, June 27th. We recently had the chance to talk to John Oates. And I want to go back in time to the early days of your career, wondering first, is this how you imagined your career playing out? Is this the dream that you had as a kid?
You know, I was a musician from the time I was a baby, literally. I have a recording of me singing a children's song at 4 years old, and then again at 7 or 8 singing an Elvis Presley song. So I've identified myself as a musician my whole life. It's the only job I've ever had. So I don't think my career path was ever in question. I just did what I did. I like to joke that as long as people didn't boo me off the stage, I just kept going. I never really questioned it in any other way.
You have hundreds and hundreds of songs, and they cover a wide range of topics. Where do you, as a songwriter, get your inspiration from?
Songwriters, I think what sets songwriters apart from, other people is that songwriters' antenna always seem to be up, aware of their surroundings, aware of what's going on, what people are saying, emotional feelings that can be translated into music. That's really what songwriters do. And it's an incredible thing when you really think about it, because as a songwriter, you're creating something from nothing, and without sounding too hippy-dippy, it's kind of magical in a way. Now that I'm no longer working with Daryl, I'm fully committed, and I think this album it shows it. It's really my most coherent musical statement. It really and the old cliche about one door closing, other doors opening. Well, in my case, it seems like when one door is closed, about 100 doors have opened. Playing the Rochester Jazz Festival is certainly something that I want to do, because it's an event that is based around music and listening. It's not just a giant festival where there's all sorts of side shows going on. This is a focused event, and what I'm doing is a very focused show. It's called An Evening of Songs and Stories. I have this incredible acoustic quartet with a cello, a percussionist, a pedal steel, and I play acoustic guitar. And so it's a really musical, authentic, organic kind of performance. There's no artifice involved. There's no tracks. There's no computers or amplifiers or anything like that. So it's a really pure musical performance, and that's what I love.
From John Oates' rejuvenation to the Meters' rejuvenation, the funk band's landmark album turns 50 this year. Rolling Stone calls it one of the top 10 albums of all time.
And the Jazz Festival will end with a rejuvenation celebration. It'll feature the Meters' George Porter Jr. and the Neville brothers, Ivan Neville. Tell us a little bit about the preparation that the two of you go through to get ready for a festival like this.
I get a lot of sleep. I get lots of sleep. We're moving into my 77th year. I rest and look at television. The music is natural, and playing with these young guys. I call them young, but
Hey, thank you. I heard that. Really stuck out. I was really happy to hear that.
It's they love the music, the music that we created, more than 60 years ago.
Yeah.
I was starting 60 years ago. The record Rejuvenation, which will we be performing at the festival, is in its 50th year to this year. This year would be the 50th anniversary of that particular recording. So, and those guys, they know the music better than us.
Well, hey, there's probably one guy in our band who definitely will say that he knows it better than everybody. And I learned from him as well. We got a guy named Tony Hall, who's a founding member of our group, Dumpster Funk. And like George said, we love that music. I mean, we wouldn't be who we are without, that music and all the stuff that George and the other guys in the meters created, that sound. And we love that music, and we love practicing it, playing it, and we can't wait to play it in Rochester. We're really looking forward to it.
Join us in the coming days on Good Day Rochester for more with John Oates, Ivan Neville, and George Porter Jr.
So, how do these great names get here in the first place? It's in large part thanks to transportation coordinator Jane Ford, who's been with the festival since the beginning in 2002. Jane books their hotels, their travel, and gets them around town once they're here. By her estimation, she works with 12 to 14 bands every day and probably gets about 100 texts a day as well.
Well, really, I feel it's the affinity between the musicians and the audience. There's so much love. I mean, the musicians really appreciate the fact that here we are in a small city. We have a very tight team that's worked together for years, and they love that. And they appreciate the fact that our audiences, as Chick Corea said on stage at the Eastman Theater, are just so smart about it all. He said, you guys even know when to clap.
Just like Jane, there are dozens of people behind the scenes who help make the magic of the festival happen.
Chances are you've seen them in their bright colored shirts. I caught up with some of the longtime volunteers who come back year after year and keep the shows running smoothly. Whether they're scanning your tickets, selling merchandise for headliners, or giving directions to guests, volunteers for the CGI Rochester International Jazz Festival keep the events running smoothly.
Oh my God, the energy is just amazing. As soon as you walk onto East Main, it's just absolutely amazing. It just lights me up. It gives me energy so I can do that 4 to 5 hour shift.
Paula Hamada Summit, Arinda Molina Collins, and Patrick Montana have volunteered for the festival for more than a decade.
We're the core people.
I feel it's a way to give back to the community. It's also a lot of fun. You meet a lot of people.
It's by no means an easy job. Along with the day-to-day tasks, some volunteers also keep their eyes and ears out for any unruly guests.
One woman said, how do you know that I'm sneaking in? How do you see that I'm here? And I said, I'm a teacher, I got eyes in the back of my head, and I'm a mom. You can't get away with anything.
But the 9-day festival isn't just work.
The last few years, I've volunteered almost every night.
There's a reason they always come back. After all this time, it's like a reunion.
So it's just like a family. I absolutely love it. Big hugs. Hi, how are you? How's it going? How was the year? How are the kids doing? How's the family?
Some volunteers started as patrons, even getting their families involved.
I used to bring my son when he was a toddler. I would actually bring him. We would do all of the free events. I would bring him his little backpack with his Hot Wheel cars, so he had some type of entertainment while Mommy listened to the music.
And many years later, it's still a family affair.
Both of my son and daughter's birthdays fall within the Jazz Fest every year, so we try to like combine family activities, and we're like, all right, you know, Dad's going to take one night off from the Jazz Fest. Let's have a combined birthday.
And the so-called core volunteers welcome the newcomers with hopes they'll be back next year.
The people that come in year after year after year that I look forward to seeing, that I've met throughout the years, that's what keeps me going and volunteering year after year.
It gets better and better every year. They do a fantastic job.
Many of these volunteers also work other large events in the city, like Rock Holiday Village and the Pride Parade. The work they do is truly invaluable to the festival.
When we come back, a jazz festival staple. We go all in with the All In Brass Band.
From classrooms across the county to the spotlight of the Jazz Festival stage, the All-In Brass Band has become a local staple of the event.
Yeah, the group doesn't just perform music, they embody it, learning life lessons one note at a time. Using the richness of traditional music with a contemporary flair, the All-In Brass Band has become a transformative educational platform for young musicians.
So with the young kids playing with the musical mentors, it isn't like a teacher top-down thing. They're playing next to a pro. So instead of being told how it goes, it's like, hey, here's how it goes. You know, we were playing it together. So it's almost like having colleagues. These pro players are really taking them under their wing, and they're all equal.
Under the umbrella of All In Music, Inc., a nonprofit, the band has become a fixture in the community, celebrated not only for its performances, but also for its dedication to educational and community impact.
Being invited to the Jazz Fest is like the Super Bowl. So Rochester's Jazz Fest is major league, worldwide, and when we were invited, it was like making it to the Super Bowl. And to keep getting invited to the Jazz Fest is really, really big deal to us.
As the band prepares for this year's edition, members feel a mixture of excitement and pride, because the event is not just a performance, it's a demonstration of growth and a culmination of hard work.
I love playing at Jazz Fest. We've been working on a lot of songs, so I'm really excited. I think it's going to go really well.
Personal development is a key component of the experience, taking many on a journey from a reserved, supporting role to an assured artist who engages the crowd and savors the performance high.
Before I joined this band, I was more like really shy and playing like slow parts and just in the background, not very confident in myself, and being thrown straight into memorizing music and marching with a big group really helps you to gain that kind of confidence.
When we come back, some of the future stars of the Jazz Festival and how you can see them in 2024.
As the Jazz Festival turns a mature 21, organizers keep looking to the future, and they think the young musicians playing every night will be a part of it.
You've got the high school regional big bands playing, and that's for me the highlight of the start of every day. Hearing the kids play on Jazz Street with their family and maybe 1,000 people listening to them, and they've made it. They're not even in professionals yet, but they've played the Jazz Festival.
And this is the man who puts them there, Bill Tiberio.
You'll have kids that have just had a graduation, and then like the next day or the day after they come to play in the Jazz Fest. It's become part of an expectation that kids are going to have a chance to do, or an opportunity. It's probably the most favored performance for high school musicians and their directors and the families. It's probably the favorite thing that kids do all year. So I get calls about this festival starting in October every year, and can we get a spot? Can we get a spot?
Some of the Eastman students who will be playing the festival are joining us to help say goodnight now.
A reminder, the CGI Rochester International Jazz Festival starts this Friday night and runs 9 days through Saturday the 29th.
And you'll find all you need to know about the schedules at rochesterjazz.com and the 13wham.com Jazz Lounge. Good night.
Thank you.